Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This is a new stamp set that's going to be available to you all through Stampin' Up! Through the month of August. And I just got my copy of it and I want to share the stamp set. It's one of those exclusive for a limited time only, and what's available is this amazing stamp set. It's called Blended Seasons, and it's a 2-box stamp set. And here's this lovely flower that's here, and the sentiments is, "You're the friend everyone wishes they had, I just missed you, congrats." There's this little 2-piece like wheat shafts here, some leaves. In the second set, there's this holly sprig, this Christmas bell, "Thank you," more leaves, "Wishing you all the best," and a beautiful Merry Christmas. Isn't that font just great? Along with that is, it's a bundle, and what else is available to you is this wonderful called Stitch Seasons Framelit dies. And this, it's a huge set with the 2-box stamp set, and then there are 10 dies here. Let me just get these last ones out of here so I can show them to you. And look at the stitching on this thing. Isn't that gorgeous? It's got stitching on both sides of the cutting blade, and it nests. So there are 3 different nesting sizes of this gorgeous die here. Then there is a leaf with, and it's not represented in a stamp set here, but leaves with a little berry sprig coming off of the end. Isn't that pretty? And then there's this floral die here, and then there's a bow and a leaf. And this represents this little bell here. And then there's 2 of these little flourishes. And I cut some of them out so that you could see them. And I'm going to put them on a piece of darker cardstock. So here are the die cuts cut out. That is the little bell. Isn't that cute? There is the leaf. There is that pretty bow. I did that in lovely lipstick because that's what I had on my desk. And here's that leaf with a berry sprig. Here is the floral piece. These are all just lend themselves to coloring with blends. And then, just for grins, I did these 2 little flourishes, and there's 2 of these flourishes in the die set. So when you want to do more than a couple, you can run them 2 at a time. And I did this in copper, but I wanted to share this because it's going to be available to you on August 1st and through the month of August only. And it is really so pretty in that it has images for summer, images for fall, images for Christmas, friend missing, thank you, Merry Christmas, wishing you all the best. It looks to be one of those sets that would be extremely versatile. And if you had limited funds, that this one would be a one to get, because while it's a little bit more expensive, it covers just about every season, and there's quite a bit that you can do with it. And I'll be working with it several times over the next week or so to give people a few more ideas of what they might do with it. So let me just put these dies away. And as I said, there's 10 dies and 2 stamp sets, or 2 stamp boxes with 12 stamps. So 12 stamps and 10 dies. And I'll have to show you on my card here, I'm going to use these double-stitched items here, so you'll get a chance to see how those work. This pretty soft little card I did, and let me tell you the pieces that you need to make it. I have a base of Whisper White that is 8.5 by 5.5 scored and folded at 4 1/4. And then what you need is I have a card front here, a white piece, and this piece is 3.5 by 4 3/4, and then this piece is just slightly larger than that, 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and this is going to provide this tiny little border around this piece. And then our piece of vellum here, where we're going to do our stamping, is 3.5 by 4 3/4. Then we have a piece of scrap vellum. I have 2 or 3 scraps because I want to see if I can just stamp this on here to make this piece down here that says congratulations. And I just love the way this thing came out. I used blends on this, and I'll show you how I colored it. On the inside on this one, I just repeated this pattern on the outside with and I'm using Lovely lipstick and white. And I thought on the inside of this new card, I would use one of the dies. And so on the inside of this card, my plan is to put a 4 by 5 1/4 Lovely lipstick piece, and then a white piece that's been cut out from a large piece of scrap. So you need a large piece of scrap and then another piece that is 4 by 5 1/4. But I want to bring this up so you can see that lovely detail there, where you can see the stitching on both sides of the die cut. Isn't that just gorgeous? And I thought that would make a lovely inside as well. So that's what I'm planning for this card. All right, so let's just get started. What I'm doing is doing some stamping on my large floral piece here. And then I took my congratulations stamp here along the bottom from the Itty Bitty Greetings, because I wanted something that was very understated. And here's this pretty congratulations in a nice font. And then I just colored the back side of that in the lovely lipstick that I used on the card. So that is the sentiment that I'm using. And so I've got my stamps here all mounted and ready to go. And what we're going to do is use Versamark here and some white embossing powder to get the look that I want. I wanted something that defined the flower but didn't overpower it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is use my embossing buddy here all over this piece of vellum. And I have a new product to show you for adhering the vellum to this. You can see that there's no glue detected on the back side of this, and I found a tape runner that is glue tape. It's from a company called Plus, and it's specifically designed to glue down vellum without showing. So here we go. There we have our piece all ready to go, and this is a very large stamp, so I'm going to bring the Versamark to the stamp here. Now you could easily set this up on your Stamparatus to get a perfect fit on your card, but I was successful at doing this, so I'm going to do this again. And what I'm going to do is get this stamp on here. It takes up most of the, and I tilted mine so that I would have a little bit of open space up here. I wasn't sure what I was doing with the sentiment, but I like the way it sits on the card. So there we go. I think I've got it there. And I'm just going to let this sit on here a minute and try to make sure that I get pressure at all the places along this to get this stamp on here. Okay, let's see how I did. Pretty well, I think. You can't see it on camera. I'll move it a little bit in the light and maybe you can, but it looks like a very nice image. And this is a beautiful, very fine powder. And so I'm going to cover this. I'll use a spoon. And I think that looks pretty good. So I will quiet the video as I heat set my flower here. Okay, I think I will go ahead and do my additional stamping while I'm at it and see if I can center my congratulations on this little piece of vellum, and if I can't, I've got another piece set here so that I could then snip it out. But I'm going to try and do this right on this little piece here. And so here's my Versamark and here's my little congratulations. And let's see how close I can get. There we go. And I'll put that into my embossing powder here. And it looks like it did all right. I'll quiet the video again while I heat set this. And there we go. It's not terribly straight, but I think I can fix that by trimming down. I think that's pretty good. All right, so here is my image of my flower and my congratulations, and I'm going to move the congratulations over here for the time being. And so what I'm going to do is, these are the colors of blends that I used to do my coloring. And what I did was I used the light and dark Petal pink. Actually, I didn't use the light at all. It was too light. The light Petal pink. And then I used light and dark Flirty Flamingo, which I think are these two. Yes, light and dark Flirty Flamingo, and then light and dark Lovely Lipstick, and then I thought it'd be fun to use Granny Apple Green light and dark also, and then I have a color lifter just in case I need to pick some of the color up. So I'm going to color this with the alcohol markers on the back side of the image. And I'll show a little bit of the coloring. I'll do one of the flowers completely using this, and then I'll speed it up for the rest just so you get an idea. And what I did was, first I used the broad end of the dark Petal pink, and I covered the whole flower. And because you're doing it on the back side and you have the embossing on the front, this you can be a little bit more aggressive with this, in that you don't have to worry as much going outside the lines. Let's see, I think that's part of the flower there. Okay. And so I'm going to go around it a couple of times, particularly towards the end of the petals, because I want that to be a little darker to show, because I'm going to darken up the center. And there you can see, and I think you can see, I'm going to put it on the back side of this. It's a very, very pale pink. And I can see by putting it on the white that I probably need to put a little bit more color up here on this end. And what I find is I get pretty much full coverage without lines if I go in circles using as much of the edge of my marker as possible. And what I get then is a full coverage of the color without much in the way of striping. Because the alcohol markers do look like they stripe a little bit, particularly on something like this where you can see through it. Okay, so the next thing is that I used the light Flirty Flamingo, and again the darker, and you know, that's not true. That's the lighter one. I'm going to go straight to the darker one. There we go. And I'm doing that same swirling kind of effect to get that color in the middle, but you can see that's just a big old circle. So what I'm going to try and do is sweep some little strokes away from the center here and out into the extended part of the petals of the flower. So that I get this color out towards the end, but not to the very tips of the flower. And that starts to give me more that kind of a look. And that is very striped, so I'm going to go back over it and fill in a little so that the marks don't show quite as much. And so there you see I've got that at this point. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to do, and I think the light Lovely lipstick will do here, I'm not sure. Nope, it's going to have to be the dark one. So in all cases then I use the darker of the two blends, because there you see that's quite a bit more dark color, and I'm going to do that same thing. Just brush a little bit, but with heavier strokes out towards the ends of the flowers, but a little short of where I put the Flirty Flamingo. And so there I've got the three colors. Now, in order to blend that, I'm going to go back to the light Petal Pink and see if I can't blend all of those colors up a bit. And let's see what we've got. I'm pretty pleased with that, although I see a lot of the marks, so I'm going to go back in with my color lifter here and see if I can't blend those a little bit more. and I think I'm pretty pleased with that. So on the green, it wasn't much different than that, with the exception that I used the lighter color on one side of the leaves, and then I used the darker color on the other side of the leaves, just to add a little bit of color interest. So, and with this one, and then on the buds, I used the lovely lipstick here to color those buds pretty darkly, because that's the way Mother Nature pretty well does it. The little buds have more intense color until they open and reveal their different shades. But there you have it. That is, oh, I see. There's a place for the color lifter. I went outside. You can see that I went outside the point on this one right here. And so I'm going to use my color lifter to pick up that pink there. And there it's gone from this side. So there you have it. Okay, so I am going to quiet the video and see what I can get done here. So I've colored all of my flowers and leaves and colored the back side. On my card that I did as my sample, I used the darker the darker lovely lipstick color on it, and on this one I used the dark flirty flamingo, and I think I like the softness of this one a little bit better than this. So that's what I'm going to use here. All right, so once you get your image down and your coloring, this is pretty simple. Now I am going to use my my new adhesive here, because it just, now you can do the bit where you put sponge and you put Tombow on the back of the sponge and just lightly sponge the back. But this is so clean and simple that I'm just going to use it, and I'm going to lay down a strip of it all the way along the edges here. And this was terrifying to do the first time because you can really see it on the back of the vellum. But when you put it in place, it kind of just disappears. So I'm going to put this piece on my white. Okay, so now I have my piece glued down to my piece of white. Then I'm going to put this on my piece of lovely lipstick, and I'm just going to use regular snail to accomplish that. And this is going to have ever so slight a border around the card, just enough to show that lovely lipstick. Then this piece, and I'm not putting any of this up on dimensionals, then this piece is going to get centered on this front piece of the card, and again with snail. And I think the jury's out on this vellum tape. I think maybe the Tombow might be better. It left little spots on here that look almost dirty to me, and I'm sure there's a way to do it that is less messy than I did. But I think either that or just put the glue on the corners and underneath my pattern pieces here, and don't put glue everywhere, because it's too much opportunity for it to get kind of dirty looking, and I really am not overly pleased with that whole idea. So this piece is now my sentiment that says congratulations, and I am going to put some of this glue back on here though, but I'm going to do just what I talked about, just a dab. Then I'm going to put it into place right down here on the corner, and there's my congratulations. A lot lighter than the original, and you can see the color's just slightly different on these two, and I suspect, depending on how you blend the colors, you're never going to get two that are going to be exactly the same, and that's okay. And then on the inside I have the pieces to put on, and I'm going to add my snail around this piece here. And get that put into place. On the inside of the card here, getting that piece centered. And there we go, we have that. And then I have the other piece that I cut out in the white, so you'll be able to see the double stitching on this, and I'm going to put that in place also with just some snail, and taking particular care to put some on the points on this panel to make sure it stays stuck down. And there we go, we have this lovely inside. Now, the other thought that I had is that there is a stamp in this set, and I haven't put the labels on all of these yet, but this says, wishing you all the best. And I thought it might be kind of nice on the inside of this one to have a little bit of a sentiment. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this on a block, and I'll use my grid paper to make sure I get it on this block right. And on this one, I think what I'm going to do is use my lovely lipstick ink to put this sentiment on this piece on the inside. So my outside says congratulations, this says best wishes, and then your sentiment that you write, just season that a little bit, putting a little finger oil on that, and getting this inked up. And I think I will put a piece of scrap paper here just to give me, yeah, that's just lovely. Okay, so I'm going to take that wishing you all the best and moving these things out of the way so I've got as flat a surface as I can, putting that right up here on the card. And I'm going to try not to rock it, but get some good pressure on it, hold it on there for a second, and then off it comes. Wishing you all the best. And there we have our nice little card, and that is the project for the day. So thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. Everything that you see here will be available for purchase on my 24/7 shop, which is www.lbedinger.stampinupnet.net. And this lovely stamp set that we see here that I used today, we used this piece here, and then we used Wishing You All the Best out of here. Then again, I used from Itty Bitty Greetings, the congratulations. And then we used the nesting dies out of the Stitch Season Framelit dies. And you'll be able to order this set on August the 1st. And so again, thank you so much for stopping by. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, and or you could join my team. Joining, there's a couple of deals that have just a few days left to run. There's two offers right now in Stampin' Up! That end July 31st. So up until, I think it's 11 or midnight on July 31st, there's some wonderful designer series paper that's on sale. All of the $11 paper in the catalog is on sale. Buy 3 and get 1 free. And that's available through the end of the month, which is just a couple of days. The other is joining Stampin' Up! There's a 10 ink pad family bonus for joining before the month ends. And so you always get $125 worth of product for your $99 join fee. And now you also get this 10 family ink pad kit. So you get 10 ink pads in any one of the color families: subtles, brights, regals, neutrals, and or the 10 in colors. And that also is only available through the end of the month, then the next 2 days. And if you've been thinking about joining up, it's a wonderful time to join because of the bonus, and because the only requirement to be a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and continue to get your discounts, you start out at 20%, is that you buy or sell $300 worth of product in a quarter. And because this quarter's already started, your first full quarter isn't over until the end of the year. So you have between now and year end to make your first minimum. So you get a nice little 6-month runway to get people interested and joining you and ordering from you. And I do a lot of help with that. Everybody that's on my team gets a monthly coaching with me where we talk about their goals and what they're trying to accomplish. And we have talk about ideas, places for them to get their story out. And then we have a monthly meeting, and we have pretty good time with that meeting, where you meet the other people on the team. I do a demonstration, and we answer questions and talk about what's going on in Stampin' Up! And there's quite a few benefits. Again, I would love to have you as a customer, or I would love to have you on my team. So that's it for me today. I'll be back soon with more projects and more cards. Bye.